me just add this in. I was talking to my wife. There's a few, now that we have a new website, we can actually, that handles what we're doing, we can start offering special services. Okay, I can start offering different products and services on our new website because it's allowed, the platform is called, it allows me to do these kind of things. And the platform is called Greenlamp, and I really like Greenlamp now, and I'm just barely getting into it and stuff, but I can tie everything together. We can offer additional products and services. So one of the things I was thinking about offering, and I can do them in limited numbers. I think this website's so powerful, lets me do almost anything I can really imagine. But if it allows me to do things in limited numbers, I was thinking about doing special services. Now, one of the products I'm going to be offering, I didn't set it up yet, but one of the products I'm going to be offering is end cut maps. So these are just a service that somebody can buy like as a one-time purchase, and they can buy basically as many as they want. You can ask me to make you charts on 4 time frames with a report using just end cuts. And I like them because they're simple. And I can give you that. And what I wrote down in my notebook was 3 charts for a set price. And this price, you can just buy it once, and within 48 hours, you'll have those charts sent to your email by me personally. Me and Melody will do them, and I'll oversee all of that and make sure we're doing it. But we're going to have a promo code, which is called just GTMS, which is just give me the numbers, just give me the numbers. Or give me the numbers. And it's basically for people who just want the numbers. They don't want to really learn anything. They just want to know where this is at. And I was thinking about, from time to time, I may make myself available for those charts. And I don't want to get swamped if I get too many requests. But I thought about that, just maybe some of you guys really just want charts. And you're like, hey, Jisung, I really need you to do this chart for me. If that's you and you want to buy charts from me, we can do that. I'm going to start with end cut, because if I do full dive maps, it's going to be a little bit more. I'm going to be getting more into my monthly report stuff. But I may be able to have 2 different services. If I do a full dive map, it's going to be more cost. It's going to cost more for a set of 3 charts, or 3 or 1 or 2. I don't know if I'm going to do a smaller price for just 1. But if you have 3 charts, you can just buy it once, and then 48-hour turnaround. You can buy it multiple times whenever you need, apart from blackout dates. There'll be a calendar. I'll let you guys know, hey, I'm on vacation here or there. But for the most part, you guys will have that chart sooner than later, very soon. And we'll get that chart out to you. If this is something that appeals to you, let me know. And then another thing we can do is dive charts later on. I want to start with the end cuts because they're more simple, because it's just one technique. But if you want like a full report and everything on everything I may see in a chart, you want my opinion on these kind of things, you can't wait till dive. You can't wait till the meeting. You can't wait to have it in queue. You just need it now. And I can do that. We can start doing that on this website. We can start doing that if you guys are asking for that. Again, awesome. You won't always be able to have me in this capacity where I'm just going to be doing these things. So we'll do them like one-time type purchase type things. And you can just, hey, I need to buy some charts. I need them now. And you can put like a rush if you need it. And I'll get to work on it. Generally, I don't take the full 48 hours to do those kinds of things. But in case it's a Sunday or something, I don't work on Sundays. I need to let you guys know, if that's you, put it in the chat. Hey, I would do that. We're charging like, it's going to be something like $22 or something like that, or $20 for my time and my service, and for those charts and things like that. And I'm going to be drawing and creating reports on those things. So something like that, basically block out an hour to get you that. So if that's something, let me know. Let me know if that's a product you guys are interested in. If not, don't worry about it. Okay. All right, let's go. But yeah, I'm so glad because this website lets me get into that. CFG first. All right. Let's go to our first crypto, CFG. Okay. All right, what do we got here? All right. Lot of weakness that continue here. We got a breakout into health. Hit target 1, came back down to target 2, hit target 1 again, came back down, hit target 3. We are not making headway. At that time, the new weakness came in. I haven't updated this map in a long time, but this is the foundational area right here. Okay, it's right there. So when we broke that area right here, we lost a big health, and that primarily was solidified under here. This is when we got to be very careful bullish trading. Now, I don't like to bullish trade anyway because we already basically hit your targets. Okay, so you gotta, once you hit your target, you're done, especially in a bearish market. This was where October, right? The top of the market. Okay, what was the market doing in October? It was crashing. And this was right here, October. So if you guys are following USDT.D, almost everything you need to know. Okay. Okay. So that was the top of the crypto market and then announcement. Okay. So here's the thing. Why do we put this kind of stuff? Because I think what happens is sometimes people will stay too long in their trade after the game is changing. Even if you're sitting on a support, if you are failing to see that the larger game is being played, what's going to happen is you're going to be caught on the wrong side of the fence. This target was hit, all right? And it was letting you know almost everything you need to know if you know how to read or if you're willing to read. A lot of people don't want to see the worst come out, and you're going to hold on for dear life and just say we're holding on. Okay, so we didn't take profit, and we didn't take profit, and you didn't take profit. If you didn't take profit 3 times and you go below here and you start building on the underside, you're asking for it. You're asking for trouble when those areas start presenting themselves. Okay, you're asking for almost everything that is coming to you because you're the one that's not wanting to see the truth. There's danger, there's health, there's weakness, and you guys can get yourself in big trouble. And there's a sword cut right there. Here's something else that's interesting. This line is still working. That's interesting. We're going to need to examine that, right? We stop right there. And then also the wick. We wick right up to that area one more time. Okay, we're going to need to see. Also, here's the danger. We started building a few days just underneath there and come back up and come right back down. What is this? It's very possible if it's a shakeout. One of the things that's going to tell us it's a shakeout is if we build, I would say below here. Okay, so this is probably going to be the next place I'd be looking for. The number is going to be right now 0.86. 0.86. Now let's talk about this. Let's go to our higher time frame and let's talk about some of this stuff. Number one, we still have the foundational area still in play, right? It's still in play. None of these areas here from old are active at the moment, but we may need to know. We knew that there was a lot of resistance here and price would have to clear that even if it was going to go up. And because it didn't, we would still need to be above 75 cents. We're all the way down at 10 cents. And guess what? I don't think the game has changed. I think we got the closes where you needed to under here, and I think price is going down. Okay, that's going to be my opinion. Look at this large rejection. This is the best price that they can get out. Those who bought at the top of the markets, this is the best price they can get out. They're going to be selling because they already know that they're in a bad spot. They were in pain here. So when it goes up like this, and it's coming right back in because they're already like, okay, I just want out. And if they're selling so much, it's going to look like that. Especially if we stop right underneath there, you're going to know everything you need to know. This is going down. Okay. Now, this is 1 week. We got 1 day left. The number for that exact number, so you guys can have it. Let me change this to white. The exact number you'll know is 0.9 cents. If price closes below 9 cents, you're done. You're done. This is going to go down with almost a very high degree of confidence. Okay, the local weakness is here. The major weakness is just already still in play underneath that area. Okay, so if you get it, you know what you're looking for. Don't ignore it. Be careful. Understand? Okay. All right, let's talk about some further weaknesses. Okay, we got this angle here. Let's draw the phantom based on this angle. And we can see that we kind of line up here in the past. I don't know if it's not a good match, but somewhere on the wick side, we kind of line up. And what that's going to do is it's going to highlight the lower number for me. And that lower number is going to be somewhere, if it were to be next week, it'd be something like dynamic negative 0.051. Again, current price is 10. We're almost losing 50% in value if price falls more. Okay. Professional, look, here's 70 from current price right now, it's 100%. Okay. Yeah, 100% in its value. That's a lot. Okay. You guys got to be very careful with this. All right. You got to be very careful if you guys are holding this. Now, if I'm shorting this, I want to wait a little bit longer for the week to close. I'm going to wait till after Sunday. And then I might be shorting this on the way down towards the bottom. I'd be looking for probably for this to have a nice bounce. And then I'd probably be looking later on to jump on the bandwagon if I can. I am going to show you a support. Now, on the weekly chart, we did get closes up here. So we need to now compensate for those areas. The foundational line here is now being broken. How can I solve that equation? It's quite simple. Because of this top is energy center here and energy center here, I can't line up these two without anything except by a parabolic curve. So what we do is to simply draw that. Once we have the parabolic curve, we'll eventually level off somewhere about right there. But right now that's not in play, at least not for some time. The next thing we're going to do with this is we're going to take the parabolic. After we draw it professionally, we're going to bring it down to the lower energy center. It's going to let us know where that support is. Does it make anybody surprised when we place it exactly where we're supposed to, that we have a bounce at that area? Is anybody surprised? Okay. Are we supposed to have a bounce here? Yes or no? That's right. We may have a bounce. If we get another weakness, now we got another place to look. It's going to be there, wherever underneath there is going to be. Okay, now the rule is these got to generally be lined up. Okay, but once they're lined up, you get the basics. You get the gist of it. All right. Okay, I'm gonna draw now these for real. FUR. REE LE for real. Okay. So this is going to level out somewhere about there, and we're just going to make that yellow, sorry. Then we're going to take this angle. We're going to bring this down. And I'm going to bring it to the core, and then I'm going to bring it to wick. All right. And this, again, lets us know, for the most part, where things are supposed to be. And I think we already got those closes here. Now, if I saw high volume on this bar, I'm going to be thinking that's close. If I see high volume on the up bar, I'm also interested. If I see no demand or low demand on these two up bars, I know I'm probably going to go down. Let's take a look at the volume. So I have very low demand when we first came in, very high volume on the up move, which could have been original selling. Now, I think this very high volume needs to be read in context. It's very high volume to the tune of $24 million. It's the highest. We got 24 million at 10 cents a coin, possibly even 22 cents a coin. A lot of money changed hands in just this very small period of time, and we're coming back down. I think they are dumping. Another thing that I remember Gavin Holmes and Tom Williams talking about back in the day when I was first going through their courses at TradeGuider.com years ago was they talk about these money-making maneuvers, and I've mentioned them several times, where they throw money at it and it creates basically a false rally. So all they have to do is, even though they're losing, price is going down, they buy a bunch and they spend money to make money. So they start buying and it creates this rally. That price goes up because even if they just buy a little bit, the weak holders or the retail herd, they're like, oh, I better buy that. It's going up. And they say go up just a little bit and then, or very short, and they start chasing this coin. Oh, I don't want to miss the bottom. I don't want to miss the bottom. Some of that's you. I'm not saying any names. I don't know any names, but I'm just guessing. I'm guessing that some of it's you because the Lord showed me some of that. And what happens is they start chasing these candles up and they don't understand the game already is set. The game already is in its play. And you guys got to be very careful because they will do these money-making maneuvers, and as soon as it reaches their targets, they have large sell orders. So they have a small buy order and large sell orders. I'll say that again. Small buy orders that start this, and then large buy orders. It's like the money, the film studio spends this money, but in order, because they want to sell a lot of tickets. Okay, so they're going to spend a certain budget to try to get hype on the movie. If people start going, they start telling their friends, and then it creates a thing. It's the same in the market. You know, you feel good. You're like, oh, I like the trade. And they jump on the bandwagon. But they're ready to strike with a large order. And that was the purpose was fulfilled. Okay, this happens a lot in the markets according to them. And that's why I teach a similar concept in our art too, so you guys know those kinds of principles. Alrighty, I only got a few more things for you in this one. I want to draw an end cut on this. So give me just a second. I'm going to draw a very accurate end cut. Yep, there it is. There is a strong end cut that is here. It's one of the bigger ones. And I'm going to change the color. I already have it yellow. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the center and then just keep the border so you guys remember that the border is also a parabolic. It just happens to be the bottom level out parabolic, but it's an end cut as well. So what I'm going to do here is give you this range. Okay, I'm going to say end cut. And by the way, I can hear people, because you guys are new, I can hear your thoughts. And you're saying, what if Jason's just making up these end cuts? What if that's just because it just happens to be in the right place? What if he's just making up? No, I can assure you, after this Friday, sign up for the course or just ask some of the participants. I will guarantee you will be able to recreate these exact end cuts. And you will, it's like giving you the magic secrets, the magic trick, and you can do it yourself. You guys will have the ability to verify if I'm speaking falsely or if I'm speaking based on the art. All right. So this is an important one. This is an important end cut. I'm going to give you this number at 0.0937.0862. Okay. So if we get the close under here, it's basically almost game over for this stock. And it's probably going to fall more than just this support. It's probably going to fall very far in its stride. But we may get a nice bounce here. We're supposed to get a bounce. If we don't get that bounce, now I don't want to buy this bounce when we're there, because the big weakness already starts coming in when we're here. Okay, I don't trust those bounces. I'd rather hunt that up move for the next down move, in my opinion. Okay, just because that's such a strong weakness. All right, and I think that's all I wanted to give you about this chart. One moment. Yeah, I got one more I want to give you guys. One more end cut. It's also going to be somewhat important. Wait. There's another end cut support here, and I'll give it to you guys. Right at this area. Oh, I moved it. Right at this area, and I'll give you the exact number so you guys can pay attention to this. So if I get a bounce, I'll probably be looking towards this area and when it's time. And I'm going to change that border. We don't need the yellow border anymore because it's not in alignment with the flat. But you can watch this number for this crypto. Write it down, 0635.060. Got it? So this is going to be another end cut. Into. And this will be N1. Alrighty. Questions going once. Questions going twice. Yes, Bridget. Magic only $12. I hope that it is reasonably priced. I would greatly underprice some of these things. That won't always be the price. It is going to be going up in the future. I know it's going to be going up. Especially as I start adding the content, it's going to be going closer to $20 in the price. But right now, as I let you guys all know, for our community, I'm having it for $12. Later on, there'll be like maybe have to be a promo code from time to time. Or just ask me, hey, Jason, you got a promo code? And I'll be like, I'll give you, I'll make up something. We'll try something, okay? Because you guys are Dive members. All right. But you guys can share the link with your friends. They're going to have a great time. You're going to learn some things. I keep talking about it because I'm just so excited about it. I'm so excited since I got it, since I went to Sedona, Arizona, and we went on vacation. Next one, FLR. All right, Flare, sitting on a big support. A sword cut was hot, which means we never used this support before as a sword cut. I think we might be actually we might be actually coming to this overlap. Yeah, we are coming to the overlap between the flat and here. And that's going to be a very bullish thing. Now, that's going to be somewhat of a bullish thing for Flare. It's going to act like a support if it can. But remember, we got to be battling the market, okay? The market. Let's see what I wrote in December. Where were we at in December 13th? Somewhere about right here. We were underneath these areas right in December. And I said further weaknesses are entering with professional selling in the background at the higher highs. And so what that means is that we saw in the volume, very strong, high volume on the up moves into local weaknesses. High volume on the up move into local weakness. High volume in the up move into local weaknesses. And then we got our big weaknesses when we got underneath this area right there underneath that white line. That was almost all we need to know. We're probably going to come down. And where are we going to come down to? Probably the flat. Now, all of these are oscillating in a similar way where there's some kind of support here, but we got to stretch out these lines now to see if we can glean some more information. So let's stretch that event line out. And this is the event line. And this is what event line is, the last major thing that happened to this crypto before the large weakness came in. So before we went here, what was the event that happened? It was this angle. So we need to calculate that angle at the lowest energy centers in the area, core and wick. Okay, now this is going to be the adjacent because it's not directly in between this area where the V is at. It's going to be right here, but it is included because the event line is also comprised of this angle. You can see how it's all lined up. So therefore, we're not just focusing on only that. We focus on the larger, and they're involved, and they're all lined up. So therefore, I'm not putting a lot of weight on just this area alone right there, right now. Does that make sense? Because this is a larger move, I'm not going to focus only on just this little area on the screen. Okay, right there. Does that make sense? Does everybody got why I'm reading this way? I'm going to be focusing rather on the larger oscillation at hand, and that's going to be the lower area. You guys got it right here. Does that make sense? That's where it's going to be putting my importance for this crypto. And because of that simple type of thinking based on these oscillations, I'm going to place a lot of weight on the bottom and say we're not done yet. Okay, based on that. Now, if I'm going to go up for this crypto, I need to go into health, right? So the first thing I need to do, we don't got any of this local health, so those can go away. We don't need those on the board anymore. And this goes up for resistance. It's a 17 cent, a 0.17. Current price is all the way down in 0.0. So we flare lost a lot of value. And what we're going to do is we're going to draw the parabolic curve to try to capture where the health is going to come in. Now I'm going to take about the wicks. I got a bunch of wicks here, so I'm just going to treat them like a core. Use the core here and use the top. And this is going to let me know that another health actually needs to be, and I'll just borrow this one right here. I'll duplicate it. And we're going to bring it all the way up here. So we actually need to be here. By the way, this has been hit. So this is the next game. If price is going to go up, we generally need to be above there just structurally alone. So that's the first thing you needed. Okay. Health has not came into this crypto. There's a lot of stuff that we still need to clear. Now, if we're going to be going up, we also want to see high volume or volume starting to rise here. Otherwise, we want some higher volume just in the micro, which is these light final pieces. But if I start seeing the volume rising as we're coming down, I'm going to definitely be looking for a possible health. But even then, I got to be a little bit careful because the market's still in a very dangerous spot, and it may continue being dangerous provided USDT.D continues climbing, which is what I'm expecting. So let's look at the volume. Do we have the professional buying? And I mean this type, okay? Look at here. This is going to be better. All right, we can see the volume rising as prices coming down, and it's into health. All right, this is what I mean by the health. So we got a small local health, and then I got a larger health that's going to be comprised of these two round structures, and that's going to be somewhere here. So sometime after this event, we want to have seen the volume rising like it looks. Does this make sense? Okay. Now pay attention because this is going to save you headache, trauma, and save you from getting in trouble from your family or your wife or whatever it's going to be. Okay. This is the kind of stuff we are looking for. This is how it actually looks when professionals come in. Now, they could still get out later on, but we can start capturing where they're getting out at. Okay? For right now, this was on a weekly chart, price was at 0009, and price comes all the way to 04. So that's a lot of money that was made on Flare at those times by larger players. 250%. Okay, are you guys with me? Does that make sense? How volume's rising as we go into the health. Okay, you guys got it? This was the previous 250%. Can I go on? I got a reason I'm saying all of this. Okay, I like that. That's professional buying into that. Do we have the volume rising as we're coming down? Yes or no? Yes, no, maybe, clear, unclear. I got 1 no, 2 no. Lily, Bridget, they're the only 2 in our session. Oh, Toya's in our session too. Good. Allison, Michelle Firecracker. Anyone else? Anyone else? Okay. Teapot. Okay, we got some participants. Good. I'm not speaking to the choir then. The answer is no. And that means that a breakout may be unlikely or temporarily. Okay, we're going to write this down. We don't have and I'm going to put a little call out box, because sometimes we got to call out the truth, right? Even if it's against our own biases. So I put a little call out. It's called call out. Observe. There is no large accumulation on this crypto. The same as many in the crypto world at the moment. This means that a breakout, a bullish breakout, I should say, which is really a breakout and breakdown, but breakout. A bullish breakout is less likely, and if so, unsustainable. Generally unsustainable, I should say. Are there going to be exceptions to the rules? Yes. Okay. But right now, I don't think this is the exception to the rule. The day is February 28th, the last day of February. Okay, so this is what I see. So this scenario becomes less likely. All right, and what happens is we actually start looking that we're probably going to be going down with a more probability. Okay. So we need to be very careful about flares at a bottom now. There's a lot of stuff at a bottom, but it doesn't mean it's the bottom. All right? It doesn't mean it's the bottom. All right. I think that's all I want to share for this one. I'm probably going to be looking to get towards this number right there, 00076. And then I got to be careful. Let price play around 00076. Any other questions for me? Flare. Questions, Flare. Going once. My money's going to be on that price. Based on the shape, I don't want to short it. All right, I don't want to short it based on the shape. I don't too volatile for me. I would like to short it here. Okay. I just don't like the pattern. All right, no questions, so I'm going to keep moving on. TMQ USD. Is that a stock? Yeah, it's a stock. TMQ Trilogy Metals. Is that it? Okay. Let's look at this on which exchange should we use? BX, which exchange? I don't know. It's not a NASDAQ and not a US stock. Foreign stock? I'm not sure which one to use. What do you think? ARCA? Let's start there. Okay, let's see how big of a disparity we got. Okay, so it looks like this, and there's the volume. NYSE ARCA, I don't know what that means. So TSX, about the same. Some more volume. And more data. All right, I'm probably going to use that one. And let's look at BX. No data. Okay. So we'll delete ARCA and just use the TSX. All right, there we go. Oh. Okay. One moment. Right there. There's a very large end cut. Here. Price is responding to a very large end cut. Now, it's not super large, but it is. All right, let's draw some more things. I'm going to go to a monthly chart for this crypto. And one of these is round structure. That's going to be nice. And the other's kind of a peak. We're going to definitely need to connect these together. This is going to be probably what... Oh, nice. Yeah. Okay. Oh, wow. You got another that I'm going to be drawing for you here. 4.75. 3.23. 5.52. 5.16. But the line itself is actually stronger than shortcut 2, and that's this. So shortcuts are strong, but you notice that I don't use them as much as I did before. Even our method is called sword method, but the whole method is slicing structure. It's just a standard shortcut that's created at certain areas, and it'll be important, but not as important as the oscillations themselves and other findings within those oscillations. Good. Okay, now let's draw some more things, and let's continue. Let's look at the volume right now. So you got really strong volume, but where's our selling? We close, but near the middle, and we come up, and yet we're still on the support on still strong volume. So we still have high volume after the fact, after we made it to the promised land. What are we thinking here? What are we thinking here? First, let's talk about this line. Now, say I need to give myself a little bit wiggle room right about here. All right, is this enough wiggle room right here? Okay, for the oscillation. How can I verify that? Let's just take 3 minutes and go through the scenario. Let's start here. Is this angle correct? Yes or no? And how can I make sure it's correct? This one right here, the actual key. Anybody? How do I know this is? Yeah, I can verification on the phantom if I have. Right now, just say I'm not looking at this as verification. Price just happens to be there because we haven't really rejected and we haven't really continued. So I can't really use this as a verification. I'm supposed to place it here, so this area is not verification anyway. This could be high and then move it low, so that's not verification either. This is just the source. So it'd be like, in standard notation, it's going to be our source, and this is going to be our other place. Our source and the secondary place, point, and then this is going to be a third point. So whether this was high or low, I got to place it here. How can I verify quickly if this angle is right? There's a simple way to do it. And that's going to help me know if this is right. Okay, yep, we can use previous areas here. We can verify forward and backwards. That would help us. That'd be something. And maybe that's something right there. Okay, maybe that's something right there. Okay, in the past. Sure, I'll give you that. What else? What else can I use to make sure that the key angle is right, by which I build everything else on? Mid-phantom. Mid-phantom is another way. Good job. If you guys are not here, you can't see what they're drawing here. So 50%. Yep, about right there. Do we got verification for mid-phantom? Not MP. MP. Yes, no. Yeah, a little bit right here. When we built above that mid-phantom, that was telling us. Mid-phantom stresses the oscillation if in its entirety, especially the border, okay? So we start really thinking about the border. We really pay attention that our border is in the right area, okay? What is another simple way we can verify this angle is correct? Okay, anyone? Nobody? 30 more seconds. Man, this coffee turned off. It's cold. Starts with a C. There's a technique, a special lesson we have about this. Is that a fly that landed in me? No, it's not. Okay, the answer is core cluster. Core cluster. We want to look on higher time frames, one out and one in. So if we're on a monthly chart, I can go to a 2-month chart and I want to see that the angle still, for the most part, the same. All right? Is the angle the same on a 2-month chart? Yes or no? And how do I fix that? I can take the core. So if I do the core, then I got to adjust the angle, right? Let's keep this one, and we're going to say 1 month. And then I'm going to do another one, and we can check now the core, and we can see, oh, the angle needs to be adjusted different. So it's 2 separate colors, right? Let's make one green. Let's go to the left. Let's put this on the bottom. So now a 2-month candle will give me something here. So the core has a very big disparity, a very big difference. Okay. And what we can do with this now is we can go to a smaller time frame, such as we can take the phantom of that area and we can now duplicate it and place it on top. All right, at the core area. So this core is still about the same. Now, core cluster technique basically allows me a simple way to do this without creating all new lines is just to make a price note at each one of these cores and to see how often we get to that core. So right now I have a month and a 2-month, and they're all basically there. But notice that the 2-month gives me this. What is price doing with the 2-month chart line right now? What is price doing? Describe it to me. Let me know what's happening. Let me know. Let me know, my friends, what is happening with this stock? Good or bad? Is it disrespecting? Is it disrespecting, Bridget? Or is it being respectful? Yeah, that's right. It can be disrespecting maybe the 1 month, but the larger time frame is still right on schedule. Sitting right where it should be. Bouncing, building above there. The close now. Let's talk about the close. Did the close for the 2-month close in healthy territory? Yes or no? We're talking about the green line. Okay, we're talking about the green line. The green Catholic line. I'm just kidding. Yes, it did. That's right. And what does that mean, therefore? Because we're fighting over semantics here on the smaller time frames, but the larger 2-month chart already showed you almost everything you need to know about the stock. What did it tell me about this close? Bullish. That's right. The close was exactly where you needed it to go. So let's do this. Let's just write this down. February, we can see, and what was the month for this one? September. We can see that in September 2025, a strong bullish close occur. Next, price spent the next 4 months sitting on top of the line. Therefore, we can see that the 2-month chart oscillation is still active and powerful, and price is likely to continue bullish in the future. Does this make sense, my friends? Okay, in the future. And I'll put the date, February 28th, 2026. So, for the stock, TNQ stock. Does this make sense? Okay, why we would want to be very careful shorting a stock like this, because the stock is already in a healthier spot. Okay, what other, I'm out of time, so I'm going to just draw for you guys some things I see. Number one, we also want to be careful with the flat here. In case there's some whipsaw, we want to pay attention to this number right here. $4.01 to $3.79. Okay, that's how you're going to be doing this. Multi-touch flat. And let's put that on the right-hand side. Okay, 2-month chart. Okay, Why would we be seeing a lot of volume on this bar then? Passed into the health. Let's talk about the volume. Okay. Why do we see that? Why do we have high volume into the health? And we now have a clear observance of the health here. Okay. Now, iPad, the wick may be important resistance. Yeah, but are you talking about this wick here? Firecracker. Pushing. That's right. It's pushing volume. That strong volume crosses us into the promised land. And then we don't care if the spread is short. If we have high volume, but it's sitting in the right places, I think what's happening now is very clear. What is price doing? Why is all this money coming in now? That's all the activity. Why is all this trading activity coming in now? Okay. Why is all this money? Look how much money it is happening in these areas. And a lot of volatility, but even this spread right here had the same amount of volume as this pushing. That little candle here has the same amount of money as this long bar. Do you guys see that? Does that make sense to you? It makes sense to me. I hope you understand. Okay, what is happening now? What is likely happening now with the money here? Nobody? Big players are entering. It's likely large players are entering the stock, and their money is transferring hands. Local profit takers, more buyers, keeping the price, keeping the rally going. This is very good news for this stock. Okay, this is money likely entering the market. Okay, we got the health, and you can write this down. Oh, I'm writing it down. Money coming in after the fact, which is the health. Okay, I don't know, metals, something. Somebody tell me fundamental information in the chat if you know it. Yeah, we can talk about that. That's a good question to ask. I think this is money coming in after the fact. I don't believe it's selling. Okay, let's draw some things to protect us. Here's what we're going to draw. The first thing, we're going to draw the foundational area. Where's our foundational area? We got a long time before weakness comes in. Okay, a long time. Weakness doesn't come until there, which means our nearest weakness is somewhere really down here currently. Wow. So this starts making a very compelling case of what this stock is doing and what it's likely to do. Okay, let's talk about how high we might be going, which may be buying, entering after the fact, after price is safe, after price has cleared its major resistance, when it's safer to do. Okay, so we can see that is what's likely happening here at the top. So how high are we talking about going? Let's talk about it. We need to just DP the oscillation. That is most pertinent. I'm gonna say I want to DP the green conservative oscillation, not the blue one, the green one. It's a little more muted angle, and we're simply gonna just measure from the top to the bottom and project it out. Quite simple. And then I'll move on, okay? Spent a long time with the stock, but you guys are learning a lot of things with this one. It's here. Okay, so there's our 2-month DP, and the number is currently, if it's next 2 months, it's somewhere around $45. So current price is $5.98. All right. Good job, Tipa. Yeah, it is a type of accumulation. I think the professionals are entering after the fact. DP could see us at 254, and I'm going to need to come back and revisit this at a later time for some other numbers that we may get. Okay. Let me go Dion. Okay. I'm going to go to a monthly chart. I'll give you the next number to look out for, okay? All right. And then I'll move on. I'm going to be very accurate. as accurate as I can be, and yet conservative. Yeah. Okay, one moment. Already gave you that. Oh, number. Okay. All right. Yeah, I'm not gonna do much more right now than this, except for give you guys. I already gave you guys the end cut range. I think it's there. I think it's just right there at this number where the flat is at. Okay. So if you do come down, you can come down. I don't have any more in the sky for you at this moment. We're going to need to do other things like a circle projection. Maybe we can do something like that in the future. But right now, I'm going to be having my eyes close on 45. I would be bullish. I wouldn't have any stops, anything except for below maybe the end cut down here at 32. It's a very wide spread. Once it starts going, then I'm going to bring my stop in and then bring it up. That's how I would use that. Wait for the weakness to actually come in and then let it ride if you can. Okay. Okay, I'm going to go to TKC. We got to go a little bit faster. I'm out of time. TKC, the Kingdom Coin. I think I did this crypto before, but I don't got one on TradingView. Yeah, we do. I got TKC and wrapped ETH. So this is the one I'm using for my map for this crypto, TKC. And let's see what we're at on this coin. Okay. We last had large professional selling unconfirmed. We still need to get below here to confirm this. So this is still going to be unconfirmed at the moment. That's a very big one for us. We do have a top here. So what we're gonna do is we're going to need to connect these two together like that. This is a monthly chart. We looked at this on February 4th. We're gonna bring this down. Actually, let me make sure the angle's right. It needs to come down a hair. And then I'm just going to bring it down like that. Okay, I'm going to be looking for some support at 00064. That's 3064 and 3063. Sorry, 0064 and 0053. Okay, so those two areas, that's where I'm probably going to be looking for before I get a bounce down here. Okay. So I'm going to be looking there. I don't know if I have any new comments to say about this coin. I said this coin on a weekly chart moved into health on lack of interest that I can see. There may be accumulation on other exchanges. This is Pancake Swap on BNB. Usually if price moves into an area on lack of interest, it is unstable. So we moved into health on lack of interest, and that generally is unsustainable. All right, so that's what I said there. More recently, in August of 2025, on the weekly chart, large local selling appeared. This may be further weakness with larger implication or larger implications. The problem is that it is unconfirmed until the foundational area is broken. So a foundational area A that needs to be broken. So that's what I was saying about here. Next, I said this. When that is broken, it will confirm larger selling, triggering short, traded back towards 0.0017 short cut, the parabolic flat at 12, and the larger flat at 17. The short is not triggered to downside. Wait for its own confirmation to the downside. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the end cut to this group. Okay, update February 28th, 2026. End cut added. End cut support. It says resistance because it could be, we can build underneath there. Added 0.00064, 0.00053. All right, any questions for me regarding this? I have no other update for this chart. The large selling is still unconfirmed. Okay, the map is still good. Okay. Any other questions? Here's a look at the weekly chart. Yep. If you get a health in this, but price does not go into, what did I say? There may be accumulation. Price moves up on lack of interest. So if we move up and they're not interested in the price, and you can see that, look at the volume. Look at the volume. We go up here. Where's the money? Where's the money? You guys know what I'm talking about? The high volume is on a bar that closes near the low. The high volume is on this little spread bar right here that closes into weakness. Does that make sense? What is happening? You already know what's happening. They're not interested in the up move. This is not good. Okay, the volume's really low as we're going up into this area. And then finally, when it's high, we go into weakness. They're not interested in the up move. Okay. Weekly chart. Lack of interest in up move into weakness area. Okay, at resistance area. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to try to predict what's going to happen next. Okay, does not take a rocket. Can somebody tell me what may likely be the case if this is all the evidence we're seeing based on what is presented to us in court today? Okay, let's just go over the evidence one more time, and we can see if we can make a prediction about what is happening. Okay, let's look at the evidence. Okay, one more time, just real quick, so you guys know we're not just start making this up. Is this foundational area correct? Yes or no? Yeah, like those are the cores. Approximately, that's about the best angle we can do. So this is our foundational area. So this is our foundation, how we started. Okay. So I'm happy with them. Where are we right now? This is supposed to be a resistance area. Okay. I don't know if we're going to be able to clear it, but even if we do clear it, the up move here is on very low volume. Very low volume. Okay. I wouldn't say that's the rising volume we're looking for. When we finally do get the high volume, it's on the up bar. All right. There. But the move is into weakness. And that's a sign that they were not interested in the up move. Lack of interest in the up move. Okay, that's what that means. They weren't interested in bullish prices. If they're not interested, why are we? Okay, now there is some support here. Jason, this is a support area. Remember, look, the whole thing is the giant support. Okay, if it is, why are we not really making anything? And price is going to be here. One of the dead giveaways that's going to be next is if we clear the flat. If we get here, it's down you go. Right there. Get me there, and we'll talk about going down. Okay, I wouldn't short this just yet, but the writings being on the wall, TKC is probably going to fall, especially if the market continues going down. Okay, as a whole. So pay attention when you see these kind of things, because at the very least they let you know that things are not safe. You may not be wanting to short, but at the very least you need to be very careful of buying just yet. Now we need here, and then we're going to be able to read that high volume as selling. And if it is, watch, this thing is going to fall like a rock. I can almost guarantee if you get into this area, then this is going to be read in context as them jumping ship. Now, we can't fully confirm that yet. It's just high volume. We've barely gone down yet. But when we get underneath those foundational areas, you're going to fall almost like a rock to the flat and probably going to wick to the end cut. This might be a great short. A lot of money to be made. And if you're getting stuck here, you're probably going to be very in a bad spot. Now, things are going to get safer when we can clear up here. And if we can clear these numbers here, 0, 1, then maybe we'll have a chance to come back up. But apart from that, we're in a time where things are not right. Okay, why do we have ultra high volume on the up bar closing very low and almost into the weakness? You guys got to be very careful. I think they're jumping ship. I think some large profit takers happen, and then we need new money coming in this crypto. All right, that's my opinion. That's my thoughts. Anybody question, comments on that? You mean these ones are meeting? The Vortex is on March 23rd. So this is a weekly chart. So we're going to concern ourselves with the foundation area. Let's go up one. Up one is still correct. So foundational area, if we were going to give this area, we can say 2 week. We can even put 1 week. So we can say that we confirm this. We confirm this 2 different ways. Okay, that's something you can do. You can now go back to the 3-day chart. If it's 3-day and the foundation is still holding, I'm focused on it. Guess what? Still holding. So this is exact numbers we're talking about here. Okay, this is exact numbers we're talking about. If you get that number, that's when the short triggers. That's when all the danger. Okay, that's when you got to give up hope, basically, for this crypto. That we crossed over. Oh, not so much. On the smaller time frame here, see? Yeah. How much weight do I want to put on this wedge on this time frame? This is the time frame. If we are disrespecting the line over here anyway, then I don't want to disrespect it. One way we can offset it for a smaller time frame is a parabolic foundation. And that means if I collect all three, I can do something like this if I'm watching. I'm just trying to collect all these three in a general sense. It might be somewhere here. Okay. At any rate, I don't want to put a lot of weight on the smaller time frames. Once you stop disrespecting those foundational lines, it doesn't change the game. Pay attention to your top-down numbers first. Okay? Top-down numbers first. Foundational 2 weeks. So when's the next 2 weeks end? In 1 day and 8 hours. So tomorrow's close will be probably important, right? Okay. It's superfood. March 30th. Basically a whole month. Which one? On the RSI? Yeah, we can take a look at RSI. Before I look at it, okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Good. And I won't fault you there, Superfood. If you're reading RSI, there's a few different ways to read it. The standard RSI teachers will give you an oscillation that looks like this and that, and basically oversold and overbought. The trick to RSI is the context. Context is everything. Now, I'm not a teacher that kind of spends my time there in those categories, but there are teachers that do specifically only that, and that's a classic way. There's two ways we read RSI pullback and RSI price base. So those are the two ways that I teach you. Now, here's how I'm gonna scare you a bit with this one, okay? So I'm gonna hide my lines real quick, and you guys tell me what you think. Okay, here we go. Let's all hide our lines, and you guys tell me what you think. Now I'm starting on a weekly chart. Higher high or higher low? Higher low for price. Okay. Lower low. There's a core, and we confirmed that already on the higher time frames that for the most part we were still going down, I believe. Okay, that's what I saw. So already on some of the highest time frames, we're there. Okay. What we never want to see is when we have such a high pullback on a lower low, that means that the indicator is primed to fire the other down. If it's price, it will fire the indicator. If it's the indicator, it fires price. This is so pulled back, it's almost not even funny. Which means that if it activates, which it should primarily under those conditions, sometime maybe in March or even sooner if we got to slam down in there, then what's going to happen is we're going to be able to read this guy in context. So we have what is called RSI divergence. Okay, RSI divergence. This one's coming down, and this one's coming up. And this is going to be a very negative pullback. So in our class, we just simplify this to RSI pullback. RSI pullback. And this would be very scary if in context. This is how we're reading it. Okay, so that's just one. This is so far. Yep. What we can, and that's going to be the second one I'm going to talk to you about. Okay, so I'll answer that question. The other way we read that, so that's RSI product. The next way we read this is the RSI price base. Now, price base we read when we can have trends. So if all I got is this data, then I have the higher high, and I can't forget the other data. Okay, but this is one of the ways we can read it. In a trend, we can use the previous highs to indicate where the next sell should or might occur. This gives us no price base for that. But for the bullish side, it may. All right. If all we're using is this time frame. Now I'm going to shorten the time frame to heighten my thing. But basically, it would work something like this. We would mark on price itself where the base low was, and then mark it with the relative RSI. So we basically get two places. So when RSI comes to those locations, that's when we start thinking, hey, there's going to be some support and maybe. But I put only weight on those when I'm making a higher high. So of the more local trend, my friend, we can see that we are making a higher high, and if this is a low, we are making a higher low. Okay, which is considered bullish. Okay, so we do have to read that in Stripe. However, RSI does not give us a signal anytime soon. It could be all the way down here, and that way would see an RSI would come like this. Possibly. Those are going to be the two ways. In either case, I don't have that signal just yet. Now, we can go to a smaller time frame and see, but as I already showed you guys, I got to be careful with the smaller time frames because they stop acting like it. So let's see if I can give you. So let me now give you just like that same scenario. First, the down one in RSI price base form. So here would be the top. Here would be the RSI price base. Here's where you sell. Okay, approximate the color change. That's when you go down. Make sense? Okay, here's another. This one to be the next one. So the color change is going to be where approximately here. So we'd be watching that area, and if we clear it, then you may invalidate your signal. In either case, what you have to do is always watch your foundational lines and try to cut them into health, and then just stop trading that direction. But in this case, there's only one main signal. All right, next for the bullish side. Once we get into health, we start thinking bullishly. So where's the price base? It's going to be here, here. So we can use those areas to indicate where we might want to look to be bullish. Wait when price would start trying to rise up. Let's see if we can edit this one. And then here, this one, right? It's the next one. So we never get a signal for the main one, but we do get this one. So how many trades did we get to the bullish side? It's this one. Look at the color change. And that's going to be when we buy next. And that would have been a long time ago. Make sense? So that was a good trade for the bullish side. And then right now, these are basically not giving us any performance right now. We're coming in and out, and we got to be careful of the context. So right now we're getting very close. I would probably have my money on here if I'm still alive. If you lose, I'm out. And you invalidate those just like you would invalidate these to the downside. You wouldn't be shorting these anymore. The game is changing. Once it stops disrespecting those to the upside, we don't take those as shorts anymore. We're out. Okay, we're out. And the same way, we also stop taking bullish trades. Here, we're out. Okay, wait for the game to come back into health. Okay, somehow with some of the options we showed, and then take it in its stride. Okay, if you say maybe this is it, you got to have strong volume on the down bar to show that money's coming back in the game. That's going to be something I want. Remember, the larger sentiment is that there's still a lot of down move on the higher time frame. Okay, so in either case, I got to be really careful taking these types of bullish trades just yet. If so, I'm going to be having my money at 30. What's that number? And you can write this down on a 3-day time frame. Maybe that's going to be something you're going to look at. 34. Okay, so my money would be on 34 if I was you and you're watching. You're like, I'm going to buy this. Wait for the RSI come out in 34 or later on the other time frames. But due to the pullback price principle, and this is making a lower low, which we already showed, that's when I really got to be like, oh, why am I pulling back so hard and nothing to show for it? Where's the high volume bar on the down bar? Where's the money on the down bar? Here's the down bar right there. Here's the down move. I just don't think it's nothing compared to what's happening. And these guys can swamp you out. They're gonna, it's off the chart volume, but where? Into a local weakness, and it may be into the major weakness. This is when we were like, stay ultra safe. Okay. I like to look at launch coins If the launch coin has some money backing it, then maybe it's got a chance. If the launch coin is such that it doesn't have the professional backing and you only see one player dominating the game, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to see who's going to win. If I see Jordan going against a bunch of children, I would be like, oh yeah, he's gonna cream them. Why am I even betting on the child unless I really, that's my boy, that's my Mijo, I gotta show him my support. Here is high volume on the up bars. We can see these guys completely dumping with the history of that. Now we see it again, and it's seemingly recreating that future. So why are we betting on the children? Jordan's obviously in the game. It's like a no contest. As much as it seems misogynist to say, when those 14-year-old boys were playing against those WNBA girls and they got mad and walking off the court because the boys are just dominating on them, they understood quickly that it's a completely different game when you're playing male against female. Your money needs to just be logical. I'm not gonna bet on those games, you know what I mean? And those kind of, it's what happens. Okay, what is, you know what I mean? This, if the money's big, you can put about 30% weight in. It's just a general rule of thumb. The bigger rule of thumb, pay attention, because even when they put massive amounts of money behind the performance, you need to see who's actually winning the game. Okay, you need to really see the truth. And if you got the market as a whole, if your one crypto is the exception to the rule, you may get lucky. Okay, it may be luck, it may be skill. That crypto may be just fantastic. It's the crypto that one swims against, the salmon that swims against the water. But most of the time, the salmon that swims against the water makes it to the end, still dies at the end. And this is a principle. There are things that are uncomfortable truths that are there, and we got to be careful. So if you see your crypto, what you want to see is related cryptos in the field doing the same. You want to see them accumulating. And how often do we see I'm gonna present a question to everybody here. How often do we see an exception to the rule when Bitcoin goes down and the markets go down? How often do we see an exception to the rule? 9 times out of 10? 1 time out of 10? When the markets have a sharp drop, it seems like all in unison, everything goes down, as if something's rigged or something, right? As if there's other factors that we may not know. I almost never see an exception to the rule. And therefore, we learn over time we can trust the general rules, at least with a striking precision. I'd rather be wrong with a single exception than trying to bet on the exception itself. For example, if the general wave is that a wave will crash down, then we want to bet that the wave will crash down. Why would I be saying, oh, this one's going to stand, this is going to stand? 9 times out of 10, you're going to win if you just bet that the wave, what is the wave doing? So if you find what the wave is doing for the markets, you can do it. Now, if I see one crypto being accumulated, I've seen a lot of crypto that was accumulated that lost its health, and you can see them jumping ship in real time. We might want to pay attention, therefore, if we see large accumulation coming on every crypto. If we see 10 out of 10 cryptos that they are jumping ship, or that only the domination players are dominating, or it's like that women's soccer team that was getting lost 12-0. They had to stop the game. You see that kind of stuff happen. You know that the league is imbalanced. There's something wrong with the league. There's something wrong with the fundamentals behind the scenes. This crypto is trying to fight against all the Michael Jordans and LeBron James, or whatever they are, your favorite insert. I want to see, when the money's entering, I want to see it not just on one crypto. I want to see it across the board. When the health comes in, I want to see it not just on one crypto. I want to see it across the board. That's how I would distribute the weight in my mind. This crypto's strong, but everything else is weak. This crypto is moving into weakness, or may move into health, but everything else is moving into weakness. This crypto may be accumulating, but it's the only 1 out of 10. When that happens, you're gonna shift your priority into just accepting the truth, the reality, the uncomfortable truths. The league is imbalanced. Same way that's an uncomfortable fact of science and human biology. There's a lot of, and I'm using this example very crudely, but it's a truth. that people say, oh yeah, men should compete in women's sports. No, they shouldn't. Okay. And there's people who say, oh yeah, this is the uncomfortable truth about the crypto market. Pay attention to what the mass of crypto is doing, and you got your finger a gun pulse. That you want to have about 70% of all your thinking. And even if your crypto is the exception, if you didn't see a change in the wave direction, I'd rather just leave it alone and not risking. Okay. And if you do risk very little. And then when things go against you, take your loss. Just cut your position, buy it much cheaper, and even then wait for the health coming. Because there's some cryptos that will even be regulated out of existence. Even some of these projects that have prophetic, we've heard some changes of prophetic. We heard some certain prophecies like greed was coming into some of them. Too much of this was that we saw Prophet Robin talk about certain people who were founding cryptos and God was giving them choice and option. I remember sitting in a prophetic event where I was sitting next to a person. I won't say who it is or how I know this person, but the Lord spoke to that person, and I through my pastor, my local pastor, and the pastor looked at this person and said, the Lord says, and it was shocking. He said, I'm only giving you one chance to do such and such and such. Just one. And it seemed like a hard thing to hear. And I remember after the event was over, the very moment we got out the door, the person started blaspheming the pastor's wife. The pastor started saying all this stuff. And I'm like, wow. And then the spirit of the Lord dropped in my spirit. That's it. The chance is gone. That's it. And sure enough, what category that prophecy was in absolutely happened. And that person lost their chance. There's the Bible talks about the windows of heaven. Windows are opportunities and moments. And even those, God gives us these times to do things. People think it's set in stone, but if you don't believe me, read Jeremiah chapter 28, where God says, if at any time I raise up a nation, I can destroy them. If any time I say I'm going to raise it up, I can also destroy them. So God can have a city like Nineveh who repents, establish them. And God can have a city where he says, I'm going to raise you up, and he can destroy you up. All right. Okay. All right. We talk a lot about principles in life that we see and help you remember some of these things, uncomfortable truths. Any other questions? TK, Kingdom Coin. That's the thing. I'll challenge the premise. What do I see? If I can count on my hand, can I count on my hand any coins that somebody showed me that is actually bullish? I would love to see them. Does that make sense? I'm not trying to be biased. And that's a perfect question too. Am I seeing it only because I'm just looking at coins? And it may be the case, right? What if I'm only seeing and I'm exposed to CNN? How is it going to affect my worldview? I'll hate Trump, for one. If I only saw this, I would only see that. If I only see this in market. Now, I would say this. I see what you guys are seeing because you guys do the request, not me. If 9 times out of 10, the cryptos you show me, after doing analysis, I see weakness or I see professional selling or dumping, how am I going to start feeling? Well, then I can trust more what I see. And that's going to be in one of the 5 advisors for my ebook. The 5th counselor is going to be the market as a whole. So yes, it will establish my bias, but that's only after looking after a lot of cryptos. Now, if you guys are presenting stuff to me that's bullish, I'll let you guys know if I think it's bullish. Like, for example, today we found a stock that was really bullish. So I'm not completely locked in to everything that's bullish or bearish, right? We have to look at things from an up and down perspective. I'll let you guys tell me, right? Because it's what you guys are presenting. If you look at me in 10 things, I'm like, nah. And I say, ooh. But then also I take into account those 10. I'm going to have to look at that. But as you guys all know, the 5 counselors, USDT.D, total 3, Bitcoin, and the market as a whole. I teach about it in my ebook, and you guys can let that shape your narrative. Okay, one as a whole, maybe I don't trust CNN. But if I see it all across the board, maybe I'm going to give some weight to what they said in their story. Same with the market. Okay. My bullish sentiment is accumulation into healthy areas, not professional selling into local weaknesses and major weaknesses. So right now, would I short this? Absolutely not. Too much support possibly coming in. Would I buy this at the moment? Absolutely not. I don't see the accumulation. Okay. And even if I get the move, where am I talking up to? Maybe to 3-4 cents. Would I miss out on that move? Maybe I'll miss out on the move. Okay. But how quickly can price cover a large distance in just a short time? A large distance. Okay. So get me safe, then we'll talk. Here's safer. Here's the real safe. Questions? Questions. Go once. Okay. I love that question. Great questions. All right. Wonderful. I'm glad you guys signed up. You guys are going to have fun. It's awesome. All right. Now, here, what do we do if we don't trust JSong? Maybe JSong's been compromised. Maybe JSong, maybe. Yeah, maybe. Maybe I've been watching too many bullish market videos, which I don't really watch. I don't watch anything that anybody does in the market. You guys just want to be honest? I don't watch any videos. You guys tell me this is that, or I don't really spend time in that. I know you guys post a lot of stuff. I don't. I have to stay, as that one prophet said, I got to be a pure vessel. I can't be biased in that. And so I don't. I just, what I see. If I see it turn, if I see it good, then that's what I see. But no. But what if JSong is biased? What if he's been corrupted and he only sees things through bear's goggles? What do we do about that? In that situation, what I would say is get a second opinion. I talk about this second opinion in the NCUT course that I gave you guys that we're gonna talk called the N class. Where's it? Is it there? I don't know. Yeah, the N class. And you guys get a trial member. But I mentioned this phrase, a second opinion. Your own analysis will act like your own second opinion. Okay, that's one. But if you still don't trust your own analysis or maybe what I taught you, you can go to other teachers. And remember, my prayer is not so that I lock you in and you're not seeing other teachers. As a shepherd, you got to be careful having too many voices. If you have like too many pastors, then you got to be careful. But when it comes to technical analysis, you guys can have many opinions. I just recommend that they're technical. Okay, that's my only wish for you guys. If you're going to get lots of technical opinions, my prayer is that you would find technical opinions. Okay, and then read a lot. I put a lot of weight on technical people. I put a lot of danger on fundamental analysis alone. Okay, so if I have a lot of fundamental people, they can hype me up. They can get me excited about a project, about something that may be actually dangerous for me, because the technical could be screaming the opposite. And I got to be real careful about that kind of sentiment. So I just tell you the same, to be very careful and get a second opinion. My thought is fundamental. You can ask Camino. Camino doesn't always agree with everything I say. I don't agree with everything he says. I don't agree with everything you say. All right? You don't have to agree with everything I say from a technical opinion or any other opinion, even a biblical opinion. You're entitled to have your own opinion about many things. So as a pastor, as a community, I'll say things as a pastor sometimes, and same things as a crypto minister. I'll say things as a crypto minister. But for the most part, I'm just speaking as a technical teacher for the bulk of what you guys are looking at. And that'll be enough for you guys to get. So go ahead and listen and search out other teachers if you want to. Search out materials, because most of the time you're going to come to the same conclusion, what you're looking for. All roads generally lead to the same outcome. Okay. And if you disagree, you're like, you know what, I got health on this JSong. I rarely see health on this, or I have reasons technical why they're going up. Go ahead and show me. I would love to see them, because you think I'm locked into my own opinion. I'm not. Don't fall in love with your own opinion. Your opinions can change, even yourself, because we change as people. I may like my opinion, but we grow and we change over time. So get an opinion and find your reasons why you believe. The job is of your fathers not to do everything for you or to even think for you, but to teach their sons and daughters how to think for themselves. My final thoughts is that guys, I'm not always going to be here for you. So I need you to think for yourself. My concern is when you're not thinking. Yeah. I'm like, why are they not seeing this? Maybe I need a better teacher. Maybe this or maybe that. Whatever the case is, I would say have reasons why you do, and then go in those reasons. Now, if you're giving up technical reasons, or you're not into technical stuff, this is probably not the community that's going to best aid you or help you. I want to be here for as long as I'm here to help you. But if you're like, I don't want any technical reasons, then you need to find the communities that will excel in one area or the other. So there are communities that are somewhat very better in fundamental reasons, very better. There are communities that highly excel in prophetic. There are some people that only trade based on prophetic stuff. Like, there's going to be some communities that are just amazing for you. And you need to be aware that you need to, as my pastor would always say, you need to be obedient to your local pastor. You need to be obedient to your local minister. They're given by God to guard over, in some ways, to guard over your souls, and to pray for you, to minister to you, to feel the weight of the burden for you, for those reasons. So what I want you guys to do is, if I'm not serving you in the way that you need, that's okay. That's fine. I just want you to grow as people, because I won't always be here long, and that means you need to find a way to excel while it's there. You know what I mean? Okay, you guys got to excel in whatever God gives you to do, and it doesn't matter. I wish you would always attend my church, or I wish you would always attend my classes. I'm not going to make it about that. I'm concerned about your growth. I don't care where you grow. I just care that you do grow. Yeah, I really like you. I don't want anybody to go. And I don't mean this in a negative way. I don't want anybody to go. But I have to make sure that my bias for you is not hindering your own growth. Sometimes to grow, like Abraham and Isaac, what did they do? Abraham and Lot. They were both growing, but they had to part ways. And because they were just growing too much, and they needed to grow in different ways. One needed to grow that direction, and the other needed to grow that direction. And as much as they love each other and their family, it was mission critical that they grow and do what God has. And that sometimes means you have to be amicable. Again, if I only got months with you guys anyway, or if I only had 1 more year or 2 more years, I need to make sure that you're excelling and you're going to be okay during wealth transfer. I'm glad to have planted the seeds in your life. But what if you plateau in your wisdom? What if you are plateauing and you're not growing anymore? What if you're not supposed to be stagnant and you need to start being used? What if you need to become a teacher? What if you need to become a minister? What if you need to start doing this? Now, I'm not saying rebel against your local pastor, but if you believe you're called by God to start doing something bigger, you need to ask God to send you. And perhaps the Lord is going to send you when it's time and to the right places that are appropriate for you. So I want all of you guys to make sure that you're growing in the Lord in the seasons that you should. Okay. Now this volume is very blocky, so I'm loath to read it very clearly. And this is the only one I got. Thank you, iPad. Say Song, we all love you. Thanks so much for being a true friend and being honest. Yeah, you do see it. Some of you guys you'll leave your father and mother, but you guys had children. You guys had children before, and your children got to grow up. I cried. I didn't even know what my local pastor was doing when I was going to Mexico back when I was 20. The Lord he said, I release you in the Spirit. I didn't ask him to release me in the Spirit, but God told him to release me. And what at that time was I needed to be released. And then God did something through me after that moment. And then after that, the Lord was the one who promoted me at times and told others. The Lord will tell you if it's time for you to grow, but be faithful while you're there. Amen? Be faithful to your mission, your calling, your community, your group. And the best leaders make the best followers. You may not seem like it now because you may not think I'm humble or anything. And that's okay because you've only seen me as a leader. But you may see, Jason, you talk a lot. I was the first to show up. I was the last to leave. I would clean toilets when I needed to. I sat for hours in front of my pastor's office without saying a single word, except for to get him to teach me. I was his best disciple. Better than my own dad, in my opinion. And I know my dad was a disciple, but my dad confessed that he had different reasons because my dad had a need for a father. We both had a need for a father, me and my dad. And my dad didn't have a father growing up. But that's why my dad told me he hated me during those years. But we were both decided to learn. We needed to learn from our pastor. And my dad got to a point one day when he just didn't want to learn anymore. He didn't want to go anything. And when my pastor would take him to the conferences and stuff and the seminars. My dad didn't grow anymore. He just didn't want to. And a sad thing, sad to say, a similar situation happened to my father later in his life, unfortunately, with his next mentor. And he was doomed to repeat the lesson until he can figure it out, what God was allowing him to learn. When we say to ourselves, I'm not going to grow anymore, I'll learn, then what happens is our teacher cannot teach us anymore. When we say, I'm not willing to grow anymore. And then what happened? What did the pastor start doing? He started teaching me. He started taking me everywhere. I was so young, but he was taking me to everything. He was spending all his time with me. And that's when my own father got angry with me and jealous, because in his father, in the pastor, he saw the father he always wanted. But when he turned to show me the investment, and that was because I was hungry for the knowledge, and my pastor was such a wealth of knowledge. But my dad wasn't into knowledge. He wasn't into books. He wasn't into reading. He wasn't into learning. It bothered him. He didn't have patience for anything. He was short-tempered, and all of those qualities that he didn't have, that was not serving my father really well. My dad didn't want to change at the time. When we are like that, when we choose to become stagnant, we only do a disservice to ourselves, and we miss out on possibly what could have been some of the greatest times that we had in our life, that we could ever have. I want you guys to not miss out because we choose not to be learning anymore or to grow. I want you guys to have these moments where the best blessings come to you because we always stay at Jesus' feet, so to speak. We stay ready. Teach me, Lord. I can learn. What am I missing? Give me something new, or help me learn something that I need to learn again. The Lord rebuked me the other day. He says, when I said that they were not following you, I didn't necessarily mean shorting. I was like, oh, okay, Lord. Well, what do you mean then? He says, they're still just not listening to you when it comes to the market directions. And I was like, oh, okay. But he says, I don't need them to short, but they're playing with danger, a lot of them. And when the Lord began to talk to me about those things, I was like, oh, okay. We all have room to grow and be humbled by the Lord, especially ministers. We get in trouble more than you guys. That's the scripture says, that we'll be judged more harshly. And then it says this, you should not all desire to be teachers and leaders, because the Lord will judge you more harshly. All right. So this is a coin called Ultimate. And ULTIMA. What I see in this crypto is, I'm not going to read the volume. I don't really see much to read. I do look at this 2-day chart. I see some support right now. We're at a support. The volume's not really clear for me to really make a good assessment about this crypto, but I did give you some directions. I give you an end cut here at 4,735, 4,705, current price 4,963, and then also 4,379, 4,350. That's probably where we're going to be looking at now. Already price give us a nice bounce at this end cut. I don't know if we're going to get another bounce, but I would be looking for price to build under there with a more higher degree of confidence. If price builds there, then I'd be looking confidently to see this fall a little bit further. We haven't really made any new high, so this is just about a double top or multi-touch flat. So I'm going to be just using this in context by saying we're probably still coming down and down within this larger oscillation. But that's about all I got for this crypto, ULTIMA. If price were to fall really strongly today, it'd be like 4,198 and within this larger oscillation. All right, does anybody have any questions about ULTIMA? Thank you. Oh, by the way, I need to say something just real quick. From time to time, oh man, I know you had that as your childhood, or are you okay? No, don't worry about any of that. Me and my dad made up in our 30s. Back when I was 30, I'm 40. I'm 40 something. I don't know how old I'm in. I forgot. But I'm 40 something now. Me and my dad made up back in our 30s. But we have open conversations about this. Just like we have open conversations about our faults, our weakness. And my dad would talk to you guys if he was here. He doesn't minister anymore. But we chat pretty often, and he talks, and we talk multiple. I tell people that I preach about him all the time and talk about the principles we learn. Because the truth is, my dad was a sibling. My dad had me when he was he had me and my sister when he was way too young. He was only 16 and 17 years old. My dad didn't. He was growing up and experiencing just like you guys. And I was a youth pastor for many years, so I'm very patient with my dad and understanding. My dad ended up looking at me like a bit like a brother. unfortunately. But I always respect him as my father, and I called him sir and things like that. But because of that, I also was one of the only ones who defended my dad. And when my dad lost all credibility and respect among his family for seasons, I was the only one who stood by him and casting a blanket covering of, hey, he's made his mistakes, he's made his faults, we've all made mistakes, and things like that. But as far as any kind of emotional hurt or things like that, no, I take the lessons. I'm not really. Pastor Joseph was the father that I needed, and I got to tell him such about a few months ago. But so I turned out really good. I think he loved me as his own son, and that was enough for me. Some people never get a father figure, but I at least got one in my life, and later in my life, in my 30s, when my dad became a father to me, again, so to speak. He's definitely somebody that now I can really look up to, because he treats me like his son. Now I'm in my 30s, but we love each other, and that's a good thing. Maybe I'll have him on the channel one day, but I just don't have to worry. Because of that, I get to love like a father to many, as I've been a youth pastor to many over the years as well, and a pastor. All right. Now, it doesn't mean I'm a perfect father or make mistakes, okay? You only have one is perfect. Any other questions? Ultima, guys. Ultima. I got two more. I'm going to do this one called Hype. You guys ready? Okay. This is Hype. I'm going to hype you guys up about this coin. All right. What's wrong with this coin? All right. What's wrong with it right now? Let's see. There's something very wrong with this coin at the moment. Okay. Let's see if we can catch it. It may not be wrong for long, but it's wrong right now. Something's very wrong at the moment. Take a look at this chart. See if you guys can figure out the answer. Man, this is a weekly card. So yeah, maybe it can come underneath here in that territory, but we're still quite a bit. Right now, price is $30, right? At 29, and weakness is at 18. So we still got some time before that weakness. And we're still overall in the uptrend, right? So we don't have that, but there is something, and there is something wrong in the short term that somebody pointed out by drawing. Did you guys see what they drew? It should stand out to you guys, and I want you, when you catch it, you're like crypto doctors investigating. You're like watching what's wrong in the examination room. Okay. And yes, it is hype, but okay, house, you got it? Okay. So we are rejecting at some places. Okay. We are rejecting at some places. Now you guys are drawing some flats here, and maybe we're going underneath and up and down that flat. I would want to get a good base on that flat. So if I was drawing a flat here, it'd be like this, okay? Did we really build it here? We're just up and down. I don't know if I want to put a lot of weight on this line anymore as a flat, because we're going up and down on it. Does that make sense? So that one is not really what I'm looking at. Okay, we can leave it on the board, but I'm not looking at there. I am going to say what House said right now. House said we're rejecting off of this. Now, how much weight do we want to put on this line right now? Is that solid? Is it sound? Why or why not? Describe it to me. How do we know it's sound? And yes, it is sound. Okay. Yeah. Anything else in there? There was something, the time frame is great. Anything else in here that we need to really drive it home? Okay. What is something? I gave you the answer. It's on the board. How do we know this line is sound, besides just the time frame? Describe it to me. So we can tell when J-Song's wrong, when he's right. Okay? When your line is right, when your line is wrong. Okay. The answer is the foundational area. Look. Okay? I'll draw it quickly because we got a lot of newbies in the class, and I'm going to be teaching this over, but there it is. There's your foundational area, okay? We connect these two lines, and they present an angle, okay? This rejection in this area should be the case, right? Health above that makes me, we're going up. This is when we want to start thinking bullish, okay? And not before, okay? As long as this line is still in play, we're focused on that area, okay? We're focused on this area. And I'm going to draw you guys something else real quick. All right, real quick. Yeah, 1 second. All right, I'm going to show it on the board. And you guys will know at the seminar, because as you guys know, the end cut launch week is this week. Okay, there is an end cut right there. Hold on. There is an end cut right here. And I'm going to give you the number. 33.92 to 32.94. Man, I'm hungry. Okay. That's your end cut right here. After the seminar, you guys are I'm gonna teach you. You guys are gonna know everything you need to know. And then if you guys want to sign up for the end class, it's a separate website link. You guys can do that, and you're gonna have a great time. You don't have to sign up for end class. You just need to sign up for end course. This tutorial seminar will be all there, and the course will be in its entirety on the website. As I'll let you guys know, I'll remind you at the end. Okay, what we're looking for, therefore, is this is an area of resistance. Okay, but how do we know we're going to reject off of here? How do we know it's important, J-Song? What if you're just, that's the line, okay, I believe you, but sometimes they work, sometimes they don't, the lines don't work. What is the other thing in this that should let us know what we need to know? There's a few other things on this map. Let's read this one here. September 8th, 2025. Remember, the crash was in October, so we know that the markets were supposed to go down. What happened in October on this chart? Right there, right? What is this? A move into weakness. Okay, when everything else in the market was crashing, the market top. We got that, right? The PayPal link does work, Jason. Okay, great. I can't wait to see if I got some signups afterwards. If at least one person signed up, I'll be there with bells on. I don't know if that's the right phrase. Markets moved into weakness of just every other crypto, right? Once we saw it on USDT.D and Bitcoin, we know everything we needed to know. This is going to bring down the crypto markets. Okay. What else happened in October or before October? Somebody describe it to me. Look on this chart. Everything you need to know is here. What I'm doing is I'm teaching you guys how to fly by the seat of your pants. You don't need fancy indicators. You just, the bare bones minimum is a lot of what you need. Something else happened on this crypto. Thank you, Superfund. $12 is a bargain price. Okay. What else happened in October? Price increasing on decreasing volume. That's right. You can see that price was going up from here to here, yet volume was going down. It's about to go down. Okay. Okay. You can see that, right? This is a negative thing for this. So what does this mean that this move into weakness was? When it finally moves into weakness, we solidify whatever the volume was doing. What was this action for us here? What do we call this action? When price moves into weakness on declining volume. What do we call this? Anybody know? You guys learn this, it's gonna serve you well your whole life through. This is the advanced stuff, but you guys got it. What do we call this? Starts with an L. Toya got it. But what is it called? Anybody? Do you guys take notes? Lack of interest. Good job, Toya. She saved you guys from me. I'm spanking you guys. Lack of interest. If price full goes up when the volume, somebody took their foot off the gas, it's only a matter of time before you fall because they're not interested. That doesn't mean they're not going to be interested forever. It just means price needs to come out because no one's willing to pay. That's price anymore. That could be the same for a down move. If price is coming down and you guys see that nobody's willing to pay and price moves into health, you're going to look for a bounce. Okay. Okay. For price to sustain higher, there has to be some interest in money. If nobody's willing to pay for that price, the general consensus of the market will return back to equilibrium. So this is just how it works. So pay attention when you see lack of interest. This is a lack of interest area for price. So when we move into that area, lack of interest, you can put a lot of weight on it. So I said this crypto is being challenged at the upper areas. The supply in this volume has not dried up, but it's still relatively high. This indicates price will continue rising. The market for this crypto shows it's not ready for lower prices. This is increased by the fact that the first weakness as a drop and bounced on the wick side of the event line. They're still fighting this crypto. I'm looking for higher prices up. September 8th, we were still looking for one higher price. We only got one more higher price, then nothing. Then we came into the weakness 2 months later, and a month later, in October 8th. So that was like letting us know everything we need to know. You got to get out. Too much risk. Okay. Up until there, things can be looking on the up and up, but that's it. Okay. Now, initial accumulation is where the big players came in. High volume on the down bar. This is where the big players show. So of high, money came in somewhere here, and there is the confirmation right here. High volume into the health. There's a local health that was based on here, and we can see that on the down bars and the down moves, we had very strong volume into that local health. So here's the health, and then there's the next health based on the actual structure itself. So there are some big players that are in here. They are comfortable with these prices. Pay attention. They're comfortable with these prices from here to here. If they're going to buy, they're going to be buying on the down bars here. Now, this is the scary part. Volume is like still plateauing here, but then we get to the bottom and there's nothing. They're not interested in that, or they may have absorbed. But when we come up, then we see the strong volume again coming in. What this means to me simply is that they're selling. I don't know if everyone has jumped ship. I'm not going to say everyone jumped ship. There's a lot of fight and hype. But right now, the high volume down bar, small spread, as we come down into that resistance on very strong volume, is letting me know that we should come down. My money is going to be on the flat. My money is going to be here. That's where I'm going to bid. I'm not saying we're going to come all the way down to the flat, but we better have our eyes on it. We have multi-touch flat. See how we hit two places? So I'm going to be watching this area with much gusto. Okay, if we can't hold here, there's a lot of money and hype. I don't think they're gonna. Large players are still in this. Let's do an update. Okay. Update. We'll do a new one since a lot of time has passed. February 28th, 2026. Large players entered hype on this KuCoin exchange back in the early 2025. Back in early 2025, as shown in today's video, but moved up on lack of interest. That means that the big players played, but no one else wants to play. They have to get people interested, or price has to come to an appropriate place to start driving the momentum up again. Lack of interest. Currently, therefore, there is much fight, just like we said back earlier in September, fight in this crypto. Since locally we have much resistance on the high volume bars, up bars, I am looking for a down move, but not too down. This is dangerous to short. I would be looking for price to find support at, and the number is going to be $20.90. If price loses this support, look for a large down move towards the flat where original accumulation came in. Okay, so it's not that they didn't want this to, they were trying to short it or bring it down. I think it just came down because the market came down, especially when we only went up and nobody's really interested anymore. So it needs to build up some more momentum. If it can't build high volume into this area, then you're probably going to lose it. Look also for bearish pushing. If you see that, you're going down. Right now, I don't really want to take some strong action, but I think we're gonna probably come down over the next few weeks on this crypto down to there. At here, I would probably be looking for a strong bounce in that area. Watch to see if you get the health. The market needs to change. So if this can hold on and the market comes back into bullish health, then you can have something like that activated. But right now, if the markets continue bearish, I'll be doing this. So as it alone, a lot of cryptos don't have fight in it. This one does. Okay, a lot of fight. A lot of fight. This is how we can establish risk assessment, which is all we do in sword method here. That's all we really do. Start learning risk assessment, what we're looking at, where the dangers, where the good stuff is. This is danger and good stuff. High volume, this is going to be possibly professional selling, unconfirmed. All right, any other questions? Okay, we'll say you guys one more thing and we'll be gone. I've been with you guys for a few hours today. So is this not in a spot to short? Yeah, don't short this, Bridget. Don't short. This one has too much fight. If you're watching a bunch of hogs wrestling, don't pick that one. This hog is really strong. Don't ride that pony. You're not going to win against that pony at the rodeo. Tree, the last one. Tree, what is this? All right, we did this one not so long ago, huh? We looked at it on Binance, yeah. We looked at it and we barely had anything on it. And, this is going to be probably a prime candidate for RSI. Okay, our last one here. Yep. And our last high is going to be here. Pay attention on the daily chart to these areas. There's going to be prime to short. So I'd probably wait a few more days. And you may get another short on your hands for tree. Okay, tree. I'll be wait till it just comes up a little bit higher on RSI. Hunt these up moves and you're going to be a lot safer. Here's the up move I would hunt. I would be looking for prices to close underneath there. And you may get a few more days. You may be today. You get a close underneath there, you're looking at almost everything you need to know. Alrighty, let's draw the larger foundational area. Now we got some good. We never came out of that area, didn't we? Good. Okay, I'm gonna get the meat of this area here. Alright, so I got a long time until I can buy this. I need to be up there before we're even safe. Okay, I'm going to show you guys. I'm going to show you an end cut on APT that I took recently. All right. Oop, what happened? Give me a few moments. I'm going to give you guys some more things on this one. It's an end cut as well. Oh, this is bearish. Yeah, this is bearish. There's an end cut right here, guys. Right there. See if I can make this like maybe black or I don't know, gray. Yeah, that's bearish end cut. Okay, we're gonna call this N1, N3, since there's a 3 other on the board. And we're gonna use the daily chart. One daily at 0.079. 0736. You guys are going to use end cut every day. I can almost guarantee it. So yeah, this is a resistance area for you guys. You need to know. You need to know that. I can't wait for our end cut seminar. I'm more excited than you guys are for you guys to learn some of this stuff. And I'm also happy because I've never got a chance to really sell one of my things as a product for you guys that you can. I never really do. I just give away all my techniques and secrets. This is the one I've kept. And I shouldn't say I kept it long because I haven't had it long, but it's perfectly aligns with our system. It's going to be worth its weight in gold. It doesn't weigh anything. Let's see. How far are we going down? Right now, I'm going to have my money on this coming down to here to the support. So peas and carrots. Be careful buying at the moment. There needs to be some health in this crypto. 0522. All right. This crypto is still not in health. Currently, it is responding negatively to end cut number 3 at 0.079 to 0.0736. This crypto also may phase into weakness this week. I would be looking for it to fall next towards 0.0522. All right. Any other questions, thoughts? This crypto. What do you guys want to know before I go? Okay. Current price is 0.0688. I better put that on there. Current price 0.0688. So yeah, you still got some time to go. Now let's look at the volume. We had some professional selling in the background that happened later in August. And then right now we got high volume on the up bar, but into weakness. You know, that move was into weakness. Right here, this one right there, it was into weakness. We got high volume right now, but look, it's on the up move. Right there. See that up bar right here? Even though it's red, look, we close a little bit lower. This one and that one, check that out. What does that mean? That means that there's possibly some local professional selling that is taking place. This is going to be smaller professional selling. Okay, in both accounts. Okay, so that one's going to be that one and this one. Okay, I got to say we got to be careful because we want to confirm, but it's looking just like it. This last one at the very least is going to be unconfirmed. And it will be confirmed after weakness, which may be later today if we get a close underneath there. Okay, so you need to know this is very likely to be the case if we can't get back into health with closes. So I'd be looking at that chart. Any other questions? Okay, questions going once. Yeah, I think they're dumping it. I think they're like, the last of the people holding on are giving up right here. That's why we've seen high volume in these areas. Okay, I think this is stopping volume and then the selling. Okay, got it? Questions going once. Tree. Questions going twice. Tree. Okay. All right. And that's going to basically conclude everything I'm doing. I just want to show you guys one more thing about this crypto called APT. It's just a little freebie. You guys know I've been shorting APT. I found some really nice shorts for you guys. And along the weakness, I don't know if I found it for you guys, but I was talking to you guys about it for the last many days. Talk about the weaknesses that came into this crypto. And one of the things that I see on this crypto is when we had this weekend a huge shakeout, we came up and we were right about here. And you know what I did at that moment? This is a freebie. Some of you guys may get mad at me saying this, but I got out of my short. I took a loss because I calculated an end cut right there on the spot at 109.105, and price was like reaching up. I was negative. I was like, man, all my profit went away. And I started saying, you know what's going to happen? I can almost bet that price is going to hit and its end cut and reject off of the end cut. So you know what I did? Again, don't get mad. Okay? Please don't get mad at me. I took a short right at this number on the conservative side, 105. And I said to myself, I said it to the exchange, if price hits this number, enter a short. And so even though that it started going against me negatively and I lost some of my profits from the way down, I also made profit because as soon as it hit it, it entered it a short and came all the way back down to here. I was almost very confident that this should be an end cut. End cuts are changing my game. They are changing the game. I don't say that lightly, guys. I really don't say that lightly. I'm going to be changing some of the services that I'm offering in Patreon. And as we're moving away from Patreon, I'm going to be moving towards a monthly newsletter that's going to contain basically the 5 advisors for really an image form, and it's going to be mailed to your doorstep every single month. So whatever happens to me, I'm going to be where God sends me next, or what's going to happen in my season. You guys are going to have those reports that are sent to you in paper form that you can draw or draw along as a monthly sent to your doorstep, and they're mailed very quickly, and they're going to be, it's not going to take a long time. And every month that there's sometime about the middle of the month is when I'm going to make this report. And I'm going to send it out. I got the new website. We're moving into that phase, and you guys can sign up for a decent price. You're going to get the 5 advisors. The 5th one is a lot of cryptos. I cannot do a lot of cryptos on a monthly newsletter. I may highlight some, but I will give you my thoughts and opinions after looking at multiple charts. So this is me who looks at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 charts a day, or whatever it is. Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So about 9 to 10 charts a day. I look at a large church. I think I have a decent opinion on the market as a whole. I think I got my finger on the pulse. Some of you do too as well. Now, I'm going to be doing and moving into that newsletter, and you guys are going to get that mailed to you. We're also doing some more stuff as I'm going to be releasing some books on the new website in a paper form. They're not going to be in digital e form. You guys are going to have physical books in that when we do the book, when I launch the book. The course for today, as just a reminder for everybody, is these 2 courses here, and that's going to be the NCUT course. Just as a reminder, just throwing it out there because I'm so excited about this, and that's going to be the NCUT course. It's $12. This is the cut that's going to change your life. I even said it right here. This is going to be it's going to unlock an amazing new level of technical analysis. The link will be posted Patreon. It's in there. Okay, it's in there. This is going to be the workshop. It's going to be March 6th, this Friday. And then on the website, all your course will be there. And it's going to show you the Zoom link. You can log in at that time. It's going to show you it's not populating yet on my side. I got to refresh the website. It's going to show you all the modules. We don't have those modules filmed yet because we're going to film it that day, but they're all going to be there. You get to sign up. And then later on, you're going to have access to that course, rest of your life. And you can always make it link all the videos in a PDF, and you guys can have that as a PDF if we ever have to take the site down or whatever. So you guys can always have those links to that course and master. Now, I want you guys to take a look at that. You're going to get a free trial, 15-day free trial to the end class, which is it's a dive. It's going to be 3 times a month. Some of them are going to be on Fridays. It's probably going to be closer to the evening, on a Friday evening. And they're going to be recorded. So if you miss it, you can show up. But this is going to be the time where I'm going to be spending time with you guys just on NCUT so that you master and use NCUT. And we're going to be able to brainstorm and coach. You're going to be able to cross-analyze other technical analysis. But the main thing is to focus on NCUT. So this is almost like a separate dive, but with a different function, primarily NCUT. So you know where they're at. We're going to draw them on major timeframes and lower timeframes. We're also going to have a separate service that's somewhat like the analysis, where you can purchase if you want. You want to just know the numbers. It's called Just Give Me the Numbers, where I will give you can purchase for, we don't have the exact price, but something like $20. You can buy 3 charts on 4 different time frames with just NCUT maps and the numbers, where you can draw those in a separate service. So if you guys I don't have time to wait in queue, I just need JSong to give me these charts in 48 hours, and you want to do that, we're going to try to offer a product in the coming weeks that's like that. Maybe not so long, maybe even coming days. But right now, you got to take the class if you want to be you got to take the course if you want to be part of the class. I'm only accepting people who take the course, because if you don't take the workshop, this ain't going to make sense to you. A lot of what we're going to do is going to go over your head. I don't want that to be the case. I want you to take the NCUT course. It's $12. I hope it's worth it to you. I can't wait to see you there this Friday. Remember, there's no WordRoom tomorrow. Sunday, 5 p.m. I'll be gone out of town. And there'll be no ChartRoom on Monday. But I'll be back on Wednesday, 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for a dive. God bless you guys.